Hello, everyone. We are live today. I am Heather, and today we are talking about coaches, a coach versus a CEO, and how to step into the leadership role that your business needs to grow. And here's the hard truth: being a great coach doesn't guarantee business success. You can be incredible at what you do, transform lives, help clients get real results, and still feel stuck, overwhelmed, and underpaid. And that's because coaching skills and business growth are two completely different things. And if you're still operating like just a coach and not the CEO, you're going to hit a ceiling every single time. So today, I'll show you exactly how to make the shift from coach to CEO. I call it the CEO of YOU in my program, so that you can finally build a business that scales beyond you. So, again, I'm Heather Blaze, in case you don't know who I am. I help coaches, consultants, course creators, experts, a lot of therapists, a lot of healers, people in the relationship space, um, all kinds of people, all kinds of business owners, stop spinning their wheels and start scaling to 20K, 30K, even 50K months with a proven system and premium offers. So I remember when I was coaching all day, booking calls at night, writing content in between, and wondering why I felt so exhausted and overwhelmed too, and still wasn't hitting the consistent income that I really wanted. And the truth was, I was working in my business, not on it. I was being the coach, not the CEO. And the moment I shifted my identity and started leading my business like a visionary, everything changed. So if you feel like you're doing it, like doing all the right things, but you're still not growing the way you want, this video is for you. And here's what we're breaking down today. One is going to be why being a great coach isn't enough to grow a business. Another is the three mindset shifts that unlock CEO level growth. Um, what scalable CEOs actually do differently, and how to lead like a visionary, even if you don't have a team yet. Okay, so let's dive in right here. Look, your clients adore you. Okay, you get them real results. You're the one delivering powerful transformations, quietly crushing it behind the scenes. But if you're constantly in delivery mode, always reacting, always chasing the next client, then let's be honest, you don't own your business. You've built yourself a job. And you probably got into this because you wanted to get out of the 9 to 5 grind, but now you're probably working more exhausted, things like that. But coaching is your gift, okay? But CEO is your position. So a coach shows up to serve, a CEO shows up to scale. And if you stay stuck in coach mode, your income is always tied to the hours that you can personally give. But the moment you shift into CEO mode, you unlock leverage. You start designing systems, building automations, and creating a business that runs even if you step away, right? You make money whether you show up or not. That's the key. Now, let me talk about the three mindset shifts that unlock the CEO energy. Okay, so shift number one is from helper to leader. If you're constantly trying to be available for everyone, doing all the things and saying yes just to keep people happy, you're operating as a helper, not a leader. And here's the truth: leaders don't try to do it all. They decide what actually moves the business forward, and they let the rest either go or they delegate it to somebody else. And when they delegate it, they have to know how to do it and how to get the results themselves first, right? And then they can tell, show, do, review with that person that they hire. So CEOs lead with vision. They create structure. They set clear boundaries, not just for others, but also for themselves. And that means not being in your DMs at midnight, not jumping into every fire, and not answering every quick question on the fly. So when you protect your energy and your time, for that matter, you protect your ability to make high level decisions, the kind that actually grows your business. Make sense? So put in the comments if that's making sense. If you're here with me live, you can also put hashtag live. And if you're with me on the replay, you can put hashtag replay in the comments. Let's move on to shift number 2, from time for money to systems for money. So you only have so many hours in the day. And if your income is tied directly to how many sessions you can squeeze into your calendar, you're going to hit that ceiling fast. So to scale, you need systems like evergreen funnels. Evergreen means something that's automated. It starts every 15 minutes, let's say. So it'll have a countdown, and someone will log on, or it starts every 5 minutes type of thing. So someone will opt in, and then they'll have a countdown counting down to the next funnel, basically, right? So an evergreen funnel is like that, like a webinar, stuff like that, that brings them along, brings in those leads while you sleep, basically. So on it, automated onboarding that sets new clients up without you lifting a finger. Um, Reoccurring offers that generate predictable income month after month. And I'm not just talking about membership sites that are charging them month to month, right? Like you can get high ticket clients and have them on a payment plan or something like that. So you're still getting that money coming in each month. Um, and then at some point there's an end to it. But if you've got this high ticket program that you sell for, $8,000, $10,000, $20,000, it makes it easier for people to have a payment plan that they can pay you back. And then that also generates monthly income for you. And then if you've got 5 or 10 of those, right, you're good. So think of it this way. If you had to step away from your business for 2 weeks, would revenue stop? And if the answer is yes, then you don't have a business. You have a schedule full of obligations, and systems change that. Okay, makes sense? Still with me? Comment below if you are still with me. All right, let's move on to number 3. Shift number 3 is from perfection to progress. So let go of the idea that everything has to be perfect before you launch or post or sell, like analysis paralysis. This can really kill your business as well. Millionaire CEOs don't wait for flawlessness. They make a decision, they take action, they gather feedback, and then they adjust, they pivot. And that's how successful business owners work. And that speed creates momentum. And that momentum compounds into results. Okay. So you don't need the perfect funnel. You need one that's live and working. I just saw a quote the other day. What was it? Nobody learns how to drive in a parked car or something like that. It was just like, that's so true, right? You have to just get moving. You have to start driving, right? You don't need the perfect email sequence. You need one that gets sent. So you've got present, and then you can tweak it and perfect it along the way to get people booking calls through that, or doing what you want them to do, get them to watch a video, or get them to book calls, or get them to buy something, right? You don't need the perfect sales call. You need reps and real conversations. So again, you can get that feedback. So with my clients too, I offer coaching on sales, so they can have their sales calls. I show them how to, create, like, what questions should they ask that'll lead them into their pitch, and then we create a pitch that's really powerful, that easily guides people into that sale, so that they can go deep with their clients. And then once they start getting the calls booked, we've got everything set up there. They record their conversations and come back with those conversations. They can submit them, and I can listen to them and give them feedback on, okay, why did you say that? How'd you say that? Maybe what could you have said differently? This is what you could have said differently. Let's tweak that question so that it flows better into the sale, things like that, right? So you can get that feedback, and from someone who knows how to do sales, because a lot of coaches don't know how to do sales, and they might think it's like, sleazy and cheesy, but it's actually more what I teach anyway. It comes from the 3 C's. I say curious, be curious, caring, and concerned, because they're calling because they have an issue, right? If you're a coach, you're helping people fix something, fix a problem. So you want to get on that sales call being curious, caring, and concerned. Like, okay, can I even help you? Are you a good fit for me, for us to work together? So that's really what the sales call is, seeing patterns and thinking like that. But anyway, I'm not going to dive into sales right now. Let's stick to the shift about perfection, right? So waiting for perfection is just procrastination in disguise. So you might do things that feel comfortable instead. Um, of doing something that you don't really want to do. And progress is what really builds empires. So every time you choose to lead instead of react, to systemize instead of scramble, to execute instead of overthink, you shift into CEO mode. And every time you slip back into hustle, helper, perfectionist mode, you stall your own momentum. So this shift isn't just about mindset, it's about power, and it's the difference between a business that owns your time and a business that sets you free. So what does a CEO actually do differently? It's not about working harder, it's about working smarter. How many times have you heard that? And then sometimes you're like, well, how do I work smarter? I don't even know what to work smarter on, right? But working smarter and more intentionally. And that's what I help my clients with too, is like, okay, what's the order of that you need to be focused, right? Because some people just be busy, 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 not getting calls back. But that's the order. I'll tell you right now. The number one priority is getting calls booked, right? I mean, you need sales. If you don't have sales, you don't have a business. If you don't get calls booked or people, reaching out to you, however they reach out to you to book a session so that you can do the sale or create the sale, right? That's the next priority. If you don't have a system to generate leads and drive traffic, that's the next priority, right? So it goes in that order. And if it's not working, that's what you work on first. You look at your bottlenecks, right? Once you've got your system working and you've got leads coming in on your calendar, great. What's the quality like? Is it good quality leads? If it's not, then it's probably the messaging or the audience selection or whatever, right? There's so many different things, but I've been doing this a long time, so I can go through the funnel and I can diagnose it and say, this is your bottleneck right here. This is your bottleneck right here. Once all those things get fixed, then it's the sales, right? Then it's like, okay, is your sales, your conversations, does that, that's usually like the last thing that that needs to be tweaked, right? Once you've got all those other things, the quality is good, all that, then it could be a sales issue. But anyway, a CEO isn't just reacting to their business day by day. They're designing it. Does that make sense? So, and they're diagnosing it. They're looking at that feedback and then adjusting as they go along. So, let's break that down. Okay. So first they build their calendar around income producing activities. So we call it IPAs, income producing activities. So not just client delivery. That means instead of spending 90% of their time in sessions or tweaking slides, they prioritize the action that actually grows the business. Things like sales calls, like I said, content that drives leads, follow-ups, strategic partnerships, and improving their offers. So these IPAs are the needle movers, right? CEOs protect time for them like their business depends on it, because it does, right? Second, they focus on one offer, one funnel, and one clear path to revenue until it scales. Okay. No more jumping from launch to launch or changing your niche every other month. No more juggling 5 different services that confuse your audience and drain your energy. A CEO dials in a single high leverage offer, builds a client journey around it, and optimizes that one system until it's consistently converting. Simplicity really scales. Okay. The simpler, the better. Simplicity scales. So scattered efforts, that doesn't work. The next thing they do is they delegate admin, tech, and busy work, not because they're too good for it, but because their time is too valuable for it. So a CEO knows that time spent fixing Zapier or formatting a Canva graphic is time not spent creating strategy and generating revenue or serving at a high level. So they outsource it. They hire virtual assistants, automate their workflows, and build a team to take those low level tasks off their plate so that they can stay in their zone of genius. And then finally, they make decisions based on data, not drama. I say this a lot. Look at the data, not the drama. Look at the data, not the drama. What's the data telling you? Right? A coach might say that launch flopped. I guess nobody wants this. A CEO says, let's look at the numbers. Was it the headline? Was it the offer? Was it the traffic source? Like they're emotionally grounded, right? Like if you're running ads, for example, you're looking at your Facebook ads and you're looking at your whole funnel along the way. Where did they drop off? If you're sending them to a webinar, what's the quality like, right? Are you getting, what's the CTR rate? Like there's different metrics that you're looking at to determine whether it's a successful ad or not, right? And if it's not successful, then you tweak one thing at a time, right? You could tweak the image. Maybe it's the image that's not grasping people. It's not stopping the scroll. Maybe it's the messaging isn't landing or resonating deeply enough with the ideal client. Maybe it's the audience targeting, the audience selection. Maybe it's the positioning. Maybe you test all these things one by one, but knowing, like, do you know what to test and how to test these things, right? If you don't, put it in the comment. I have no clue what you're talking about, or I need help, maybe, because all of these things are what I teach my clients. So raise your hand, reach out if this is stuff that you're just like, what? I don't know what she's talking about. And then I have free videos I can point you to, and you can learn more about that kind of stuff. But anyway, we got to look at that, right? What is the headline? What's the offer? What's the traffic source? Like the CEOs are emotionally grounded. They track the metrics that matter, and then they don't let one slow week throw off their entire strategy. So being a CEO doesn't mean that you stop caring. It means that you stop guessing. Okay. It's about becoming the kind of leader who sets the pace, not the kind who scrambles to keep up. And once you start making decisions like a CEO, structuring your time like a CEO, and building systems like a CEO, that's when you unlock real scale. So, for example, one of my clients was stuck juggling clients work and like client work and marketing. So what we did was we restructured her calendar. We installed two simple systems for sales and onboarding. So one for sales, one for onboarding, and had her focus only on revenue generating actions. And within 60 days, she had her first $25,000 month. Okay. That's what happens when you operate like a CEO. And mind you, you don't need a team to be a CEO. Okay. You just need vision, right? I always say to my clients, like, be really clear on that vision and have it pull you forward, because it's a lot less energy to be pulled towards something than to push towards something, right? So ask yourself, where's my business going? What are the three most important priorities right now? And what metrics actually matter for my growth? And if you don't know, again, reach out, and I can point you in the right direction. So even if it's just you right now, no team, no assistant, no fancy setup, you can still lead like a CEO, because being a CEO isn't about having a big office or a dozen employees. It starts with how you manage yourself, and clarity is where that leadership begins. So CEOs they don't wing it. They operate with intention, and they know where they're going, and they measure their progress along the way. So they set clear revenue goals every single month. They're not vague, vague hopes like, let's get more clients, but concrete targets like, I'm going to bring in 15,000 from 3 premium packages. They know their numbers because their numbers tell the truth. And when you have a target, you can build a plan to hit it. So they track their lead generation and conversion rates weekly, not because they're obsessed with data, but because they're obsessed with growth. And how many leads came in this week? How many turned into calls? How many calls turned into clients? This isn't busy work, it's business intelligence. So they make offers too. They make offers consistently, not just when they feel inspired. And that means showing up even when engagement is low. It means putting your solution in front of your audience regularly with confidence and clarity. And CEOs don't wait for the perfect moment. They just create that momentum and that consistency. That's the important thing, right? Consistency. And most importantly, they carve out time to think, not just to do. Remember Einstein? Einstein would go for a walk daily, and he spent most of his time thinking, creating. He's very creative. So this is huge. If your calendar is packed with delivery and to-dos, but you never have white space to think strategically, you're not leading, you're reacting. Okay. So CEOs protect time to evaluate, adjust, and innovate. Time is actually the most it's like the biggest commodity, right? More than time. So that's where clarity lives. That's where next level growth begins. Because leadership isn't about a title. It's about how you show up. So how you make those decisions, how you steward your time, energy, and vision. And when you lead yourself well, the business starts to follow your lead. Okay. So here's 3 CEO rituals that you can start today. Number 1 is CEO check-in. Every Monday, review your top 3 priorities and set one goal for revenue or growth. The second thing is a 90-minute focus block. Block time daily for IPAs only. No distractions, no busy work. And then the third thing is weekly reflection. So every Friday, ask what moved the needle, what distracted me, and what gets cut. What should I cut? So these micro habits lead to macro results. And remember, high income follows high intention. So if you're ready to stop spinning your wheels and start leading like a CEO in your business that your business needs, then you should grab my free training by checking on the link in the description. And you'll learn how to create a clear, scalable system that brings in high ticket clients consistently without burning out. And if you got value from this, give it a thumbs up and a share. Share it with another coach or another business owner who needs this shift as well. And let me leave you with this. Uh, you were never meant to build a business that burns you out. You were meant to build one that fuels your mission and funds your freedom. And that only happens when you stop being the coach who doesn't do it all, and you become the CEO who leads it all. So your next level, it's not about doing more, it's about becoming more. So I hope that was helpful. I hope you found value in it, and I will see you in the next video.